Hi folks, happy new year, and it's that time. I've done my top 10 black series. Now we're going to get into the vintage collection. For me, it's definitely been a good year. We've had some great action figures released, some great play sets. We've got HasLabs on the way. Still waiting for the Ghost. We should be getting that here in Australia towards the end of February. But yeah, very much eagerly awaiting that one. It looks amazing. I'm loving seeing everyone's sort of thoughts and reviews on the figures that are coming with it. I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, I think 2025 is going to be another good year to kick on with the legendary 3.75. I am partial to both scales, so I don't discriminate. I just have to pick and choose a little bit more. But yeah, as always, I've got a couple of honourable mentions, which we'll start with, and then we'll get into my top 10. And unlike my Black Series, I actually did count out 10 this time, because when I did that one, I left one out and only had 9. But that's okay. We'll get on with it. All right, folks, let's do it. All right, so first up on the honourable mentions list, we have Ben Kenobi, Tiverton Station. Now, I was sort of unsure and didn't go back and look to see whether this was a late 2023 or early 2024. This is one I did get in 2024, so I decided to slot it in as an honourable mention. Yeah, I just really love Obi-Wan in the blue. I think it looks great. I love the sort of the shawl / poncho, the backpack. I really love seeing Obi-Wan trying to exist in that sort of mundane world of Tatooine, trying to keep the attention off himself. And yeah, I think it's just a really, really nice version of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I was very, very happy to add this one to the collection this year with the other two figures, with Tika and the Purge Trooper. So here's one honourable mention there. The next honourable mention goes to another 2023 figure, but one I only picked up this year. It is Fat Bib. To move the camera up so we can fit on it. Yeah, this to date is probably one of my favourite vintage collection figures, period. And he is a little bit top heavy, but that's okay. We'll get him back on the stand. Yeah, he's a little top heavy, but he works. And yeah, just the size, the sheer detail in his face, the soft goods, the use of the soft goods, all the extra paint applications that go into this figure, as well as the classic Kenner style staff that he had there on his throne. Because yeah, I didn't initially get the throne room when it came out, so I didn't pre-order it, but I managed to snag one at some point earlier this year, so I'm very, very happy to have that one. And yeah, so Mr. Fat Bib is one honourable mention simply because he was a 2023 release. So let's get on to the top 10. And coming in at 10th place is Ezra Bridger. This is the Ahsoka sort of hologram version. There's a slight tweak to this figure coming with the Ghost. If you haven't yet got yours, yeah, very similar, but yeah, sort of a little bit more sort of stylized for the animated style, whereas this one's sort of based on that sort of realistic interpretation more so. I don't think there's too many differences. I think they've used the same head sculpt. It's a different torso and maybe some slight differences in the paint applications, but either way, this one was one I was very excited to get earlier in the year. I think we've all been itching for some Star Wars Rebels characters to come to the vintage collection. And yeah, Ezra being one of them. I am very hopeful that they've got a season 1 and 2 version of Ezra coming. I think that would be absolutely dynamite. Particularly to go with some of the other characters and the Ghost, of course. Just love the colours. Love the detail. Love that they've captured the look of blanking on his name, of course. I'll try and put a note on the screen after I refresh my memory. But yeah, definitely waiting for a season 1, 2 Ezra, and even an Ahsoka series Ezra Bridger with the full beard. So yeah, he comes in at number 10. Let's start 10 over here. All right, we've got number 9, and this one was definitely a front runner in my 6 month through the year, partway through the year. Count Dooku, absolutely amazing figure. I've done a little bit of customizing. I've given him the sort of the chain link from an older Count Dooku and merged it with the soft goods cape from the current Dooku, just to give him a little bit extra. The plan is to get another. I still haven't picked one up. There's plenty around, because this one is currently fighting Anakin from Revenge of the Sith, but I'd love to get one up in my Attack of the Clones collection, and just to replace some of those older versions, which, you know, still hold up reasonably well, but there's a couple that, yeah, just don't stand, that haven't stood the test of time, but they all serve a purpose. But yeah, for the purposes of getting a fresh one, yeah, a much long overdue addition to the vintage collection. The card back was pretty iconic. The figure is, you know, dare I say, you know, spot on. I don't think they need to improve too much. So yeah, Count Dooku comes in at number 9. Next, we have sliding in at number 8. We have Commander Rex. We're all going to call him Captain, but yeah, for the purposes of this release, he is Commander Rex from the Bad Batch. I think this is a really nice update from that old Black Series 3.751. That one was a little bit of it needed to be done. I think the fans sort of harassed Hasbro for long enough to give us a Rex that they got right. They've sort of gone for a more animated style, especially with the gun holsters and stuff like that. My sort of only slight issue, being an issue at all, is the sort of the bronze on the helmet for the weld marks. I just slapped it on a little bit too thick, but from a distance, it's not too bad. It's very fine detail to get something like that into this scale. But yeah, I always thought I'd try and give it a shot at yeah, sort of mellowing that down a little bit, but yeah, never got around to it and never bothered by it. So I did pick up a second of these to have Rex with his helmet off. But yeah, a very nice addition. Again, they've sort of been nailing it with the clones recently. I feel like they've got the body sculpt right, they've got the head sculpt right finally, with the helmet. So yeah, Commander Rex comes in at number 8. Next in line at number 7 is one that was severely needed. Princess Leia, New Hope. Just the perfect 3 3/4 version of this figure. I know a lot of people are a little bit more into the soft goods than the sort of the plastic molded, but just for the sake of how they look on the shelf, I think the plastic going all the way through is the way to go. And if you've got one of those old layers, you could probably slip the soft goods over the top of this one and still have all the articulation intact if you chose to. The fact that she came with that swap out hood was absolutely genius. I'm looking forward to the Black Series version coming early in the new year. But yeah, there was a long time between layers from Episode 4, from A New Hope, from Star Wars. So yeah, I'm glad they're starting to tick off some of those boxes. Like we've got a Ben Kenobi coming soon, and a new Luke, and hopefully a new Han Solo as well. just to get some more original trilogy love out there. But the likeness of the figure was fantastic. I think they really nailed it with this one. It's the flowing robes. Looks really nice. So yeah, Leia comes in at 7. In 6th place, we have another New Hope edition. And yeah, I was surprised at this one. I knew it would be good, but a New Hope Darth Vader. You know, they've absolutely knocked it out of the park with some of the recent releases, like the Dark Times and the even the Return of the Jedi Darth Vader with the removable helmet, the sort of cracked helmet Darth Vader from Obi-Wan Kenobi as well. But yeah, sort of spliced the best bits of that one together to create this, you know, bang on Darth Vader from A New Hope. And yeah, this was one I don't think Hasbro needs to ever go back to the drawing board ever again. I think he's absolutely remarkable. I've had a lot of Darth Vaders over the years. I think most of us probably have, if we've been collecting 3 3/4 for a long time. We've had a lot of Darth Vaders. Some have been reasonable, some have been god awful, but I think Hasbro's absolutely cooked with this one. And I'm going to get a fresh stand for him because that one's a little bit worn. Maybe it's his feet. No, that one's a little bit better. So yeah, got to have a nice iconic Vader in here somewhere. And yeah, none more iconic than the New Hope with the ribbed gloves. Sort of the dark magenta of the eye lenses. The soft good cape, which is fantastic. I think probably the only thing that would benefit is that it was wired, but you know, that's a lot to ask for 3 3/4 inch. But yeah, this one came out really, really nice. And yeah, he came in 6th place. Next, we have rocketing into 5th place. We have Mr. Cobb Vanth. Came in the deluxe sort of packaging. Didn't need to be, let's be honest. I don't think many of the deluxe ones from this year needed to be in deluxe packaging. This guy could have fit on a standard TVC card, but to have him in the line is so good. And you know, I think I spoke about it in my review that they've done enough with this figure that they can just about justify whipping out a slightly retooled version for a Book of Boba Fett Cobb Vanth without the armor, without the gauntlets. There are a lot of people that have gone to town and customized this one already. But yeah, you strip off all the armor and leave him bare. All you're left with is a little bit of a retool for the gauntlets, maybe a different set of hands. You know, the little knee darts come off, the sort of knee armor there, that comes off. And you can do enough with this figure that yeah, you don't really need to do too much to get a standard Cobb Vanth, Marshall Vanth, without the Boba Fett Mandalorian armor on. But yeah, in terms of him being a deluxe, I don't think he came with enough to justify that. You know, maybe it was an expense to get this figure made, hence the slightly higher price tag, but I don't know. All I can say is I hope that the normal Cobb Vanth, when they get around to it, will be on a standard card back. I think he will be. But yeah, this is an absolutely outstanding figure. Really nice to have him in the line. He's sort of been asked for since we saw him. And who doesn't want Timothy Olyphant in our Mandalorian armor? Total badass. So yeah, he's at 5th place. Coming to 4th, we have another Mandalorian and another deluxe, Jango Fett. This is this is just such a fun figure to play with, to pose up. I know a lot of people were a little bit iffy about the gun holsters on the side looking a little bit big, but for the purposes of the figure, I think it's fine. I'm not too fussy about that kind of thing. I know there is only like a little pencil slot for his blasters to slide into, and they don't sort of just slot in there super nicely, but most of the time he's going to be helmet on, armed, dueling with the blasters out, helmet on. The fact that he came with a great head sculpt is a bonus. I do think the head sculpt was probably a reuse from the dodgy Bad Batch Captain Rex when they didn't give him his haircut. They just got another clone and painted it white. I think they may have used the same one with some additional scarring and stuff on his face to resemble Jango a little bit more. But it's fine. It's fine. The helmet's great. The colours are good. Again, doesn't really belong in deluxe packaging. If he'd come with both versions of his jetpack, I'd say go for it. But yeah, begging for another version of the Attack of the Clones with the jetpack, sort of like the version we got back in 2011. But using this body would be absolutely unreal. And you know, if you've got one of those old Jangos from the vintage collection, you can just swap out the jetpack and glue the old one on it. It would be fine if that's something you want to do. Because I don't think there are any other major differences to his armour. But it's nice to have a very cool modern Jango Fett in the line. Well-deserved character for a vintage card or a vintage collection release, let alone a second one. But yeah, he comes in at number 4, Jango Fett. Third place brings us another deluxe, and this one kind of justified a little bit more perhaps. Maybe not. I think he could have fit onto a card. Garazeb Aurelius, slightly different version to the one that's coming with the Ghost. Not a huge difference, but there's going to be some there's going to be some differences. The one with the Ghost isn't going to have the shoulder armor. Slightly different outfit. Very slight. But yeah, this was a super duper release for the year. He came with both weapons, sort of extended and sort of blaster, which is fantastic. And superposable. He looks good. I am looking forward to the Ghost version with the sort of the more snarling face. This one is a little bit sort of stock standard face. It doesn't look super action orientated, but it's fine. Again, for the same reason as a couple of the other figures like Ezra, it's the bright colours. That's the love for Star Wars Rebels. It's been a good year for Rebels fans. I hope it continues. I'd love to see some more of the villains, Agent Kallus perhaps, maybe some of the other Inquisitors, maybe an Ahsoka in this scale. Super articulated Rebels Ahsoka. So yeah, Mr. Garazeb Aurelius coming in at number 3. All right, we're down to the final 2. Let's just get into it. And this was a tough one. I really wanted this one in at first place, but there was one figure that topped it. But we're going to go for number 2. Better, more or less an equal first for me. Kanan Jarrus, Jedi Knight. Yeah, I think most would agree that this figure is absolutely unreal. It's again, it's finally getting these Rebels characters into a super articulated 3 3/4 inch line, like the vintage collection. The animated figures held up for a while. They look good. I still kept all my animated figures, even though they were 5 POA. Yeah, they still have a space on my shelf. Because I love Rebels, I love the animation. But to get this version of Kanan in hand, finally looking like this in 3 3/4 is absolutely unreal. And it did beat out the Black Series one for me. I think it's just that little bit better. Feels a little bit smoother. The head sculpt looks a little bit better to me too. Looks like they really sort of captured it this time. As they should have. It took nearly 10 years to get this one out in 3 3/4. Super articulated vintage collection. The one thing I did is I took a lightsaber from one of the 5 POA versions. I think it was the Stormtrooper Disguise one. Because I wasn't a big fan of the lightsaber that came with Kanan, and the hilt on that one was a little bit better, a little bit bigger, a little bit more in line with the scale of the figures, whereas the one he came with was just a little bit crappy. But like I said, very excited for the Ghost to arrive down here in Australia end of Feb. Hopefully a little bit sooner, but it's all good. Just grateful to have the opportunity to get one. But yeah, Kanan, a very close first place for 2024. Just can't get enough of him. Super, super nice. So yeah, Kanan Jarrus in number 2. Let's get him up front there somewhere. That looks good. And coming in at number 1, this is in my opinion the best figure Hasbro's done in quite some time. This was just eagerly awaited. We had a slightly more disappointing version the year before, or was it even earlier this year? I can't remember. But let's jump in to talk about Sabine Wren. It's part of the 2-pack that came with Chopper. They came on individual cards to accompany the Ghost and the release of the Ghost. And yeah, this figure just completely blew me away. The head sculpt is unreal. They really made it look like Natasha that played Sabine in Ahsoka. She looks a little bit younger. I love the hair, the sort of the white sort of ombre look into the purple, the concave bob haircut. It's super cool. The helmet is actually to size. You can switch it out. It looks good. It looks really nice. She comes with the jetpack this time, which is super cool. You can put the flame attachment in there. It's got the great articulation. She's got both the blasters. And for me, again, like I mentioned with Ezra and Zeb, it's the paint colors. It's the way the paint pops on the figure. You don't mind paying that sort of money if they're going to be as detailed, and that's a lot of passes with paint. It's a lot of applications on this figure, a lot of different colors, a lot of work, and the sculpting work to get this figure to be where it's at. Absolutely unreal. And part of me regrets not picking up a second pack. So I did pre-order 2, and then I sort of cancelled one, and I thought, nah, all the figures that are coming with the Ghost, I'm going to open those anyway. So I thought, no, I don't need a second lot. For the mural, didn't really feel the need. I thought if I could get a nice high-res print of the mural and print that out and put it in a frame, that would be much nicer. But yeah, this one, just an absolutely beautiful figure. Sabine has become a favourite character of mine in recent years. Actually doing multiple rewatches of Rebels, and then of course Ahsoka, which I think I've watched that series probably over 10 times now. But yeah, again, another reason why I'm really looking forward to the Ghost is getting that crew together, set up, on display. There we have it, folks. There is my vintage collection class of 2024. Great line of figures. Big props to Hasbro for getting some fantastic stuff out. There were some difficult choices to be made. It was a good selection process that I've been doing over the last probably couple of months. But yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment down below. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And we'll see you again very soon for some more Star Wars action figure reviews. Happy New Year. And may the force be with you always.